What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, we're going to be ranking a lot of pink diamonds. And, you know, I don't know why I decided to rank so many people. Maybe it's because I felt badly leaving people off. But first of all, I wanted to rank all the pink diamonds that came out this season. And then I wanted to rank all the good pink diamonds. And so if there's any pink diamonds that I left off this, I apologize. Like Bronny James, I left off, you know, some pink diamonds that I've probably ranked in the past may not be on here. But I tried to include nearly all the good ones and all the ones that came out recently. So we've got a lot to rank. So leave a comment on your favorite pink diamond down below in the comments. Smash that like button. Help me out because look, I'm ranking 70-some pink diamonds here. Somebody help me. Let's start off with Al Horford. Yikes. One of the worst pink diamonds we'll rank. Look, I don't think Kyle Korver is that great. Now, when I say that the card's good, I'm just saying I think B tier is as high as I can go. And again, I think that's where I got him. And if you have Kyle Korver higher, that's fine. But I feel like I should green more with Kyle Korver than I do. I feel like sometimes I struggle greening shots, and it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Don Ole. Here's the problem I got with Don Ole, and I'm going to talk about this. Because why would anybody lock in this card? I mean, 6'3", 6'8" wingspan, does some things, but I'm just like, what? Like, I mean, you're locking in Don Ole for what? Like, why are we locking that card in? No, he's C tier. The card is not great. Terry D is good. A tier for Terry D, I think, is where he belongs. Gonna shoot the ball well. The only problem I've got with Terry is the fact that he's only 6'7". I wish he was taller at the small forward position. Everything else I think is great. Brook Lopez. I think, you know, is Brook Lopez better than Al Horford? Honestly, I think so. I don't think his release is better. But I do think if you're using the two cards, you're going to probably like Brook Lopez more. Dr. J, S tier. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's really no questions asked. If you don't like Dr. J at this stage, I don't know what to tell you. He's got the best release in the game, arguably. He's got a good leaner. Offensively gives you a ton. He is that S tier. Tubby Walker, D tier. I mean, the thing I've got with Tubby Walker is what is he really doing for you guys at an insanely high level? I just don't think a lot. Bob McAdoo up next, really good. I mean, is Bob McAdoo A tier? I think so. I think Bob McAdoo does enough on the on the floor to be an A tier. Shoots the ball well, green shots, plays a lot of defense. If you don't have him at A tier, I'm really curious as to why. I know he's a little undersized, but I still think he deserves there. LaMelo Ball. I don't love LaMelo Ball as far as release. I don't think the card is perfect. But what I do like about LaMelo Ball is if you've got LaMelo Ball on the court, he's long, lengthy. And so, like, that's something, as times went on, I've kind of grown to appreciate height. Like, even at the point guard position, it's one of the reasons I'll never hate too much on Magic Johnson is their height is invaluable. Like, the cards are definitely going to be able to compete on the floor just because of their height alone. Gerald Wallace up next. I actually really like Gerald Wallace. Is he as good as Terry? Probably slightly worse. And remember, when I'm ranking these cards, B tier is still good. Like LaMelo Ball, Kyle Korver, Gerald Wallace, these cards are all good. It just really, in my opinion at this stage, is preference based. Do I prefer Terry to Gerald? Probably by the slightest of margins. Reggie Theus. I mean, if LaMelo Ball is going to be a B tier, I think Reggie Theus is at B tier. Both the cards have decent height, going to compete at a decent level. Jerry Sloan, sig-wise, is okay. I'm actually, is it crazy to put Jerry Sloan at B tier? I mean, he's only 6'5", but I want to show you guys something with Jerry Sloan because I don't want you guys to think I'm crazy. And so, I know he is only 6'5", but his defense is off the charts good. I mean, animation-wise, comes with the decent release, Pro 2 leaner. I'm going to do it. I'm going to throw him at B tier. I think he's deserving of it. I genuinely do. Jerry Lucas up next. Or let's go Wayne Embry first. The problem with Wayne Embry is he plays a lot of defense. It's just his release isn't great. And so that's a problem with Wayne Embry. But then you go Jerry Lucas, who doesn't have a great defensive track record. But I think both cards got to go at C tier. And I don't even hate Wayne Embry. I honestly want to hype up Wayne Embry. I think it's just kind of tough to do at this stage of my team. Big Z Zydrunas Ilgauskas up next. I think he's A tier. I don't think he does enough to throw at S tier, but I do think Big Z is extremely good on this game, and I do think he is worthy of being in that A tier. Next up, we do see Kristaps Porzingis. And here's the troublesome part, because is Kristaps better than Big Z? To be honest with you guys, I think a lot of it's preference. I genuinely do. Do I prefer KP? I mean, probably. And so I think KP does deserve it S tier. It's just, in my opinion, this is me. As time goes on, I just think KP loses some value. And it's not me hating on it. It's just me realistically thinking like KP or Big Z. I think, you know, KP is the better option, but I don't think it's by much. Let's go Jamal Murray up first. Jamal Murray's fine on this game, honestly. I'm going to go B tier. Like, I'm not going to hate on Jamal Murray. I think he's better than Don Old. Genuinely, I do not hate Jamal Murray. Jim Jackson is extremely good at this game, but I think with extremely good, I can only go B tier. And I like Jim Jackson, but B tier is as high as I can go. David Thompson, I know people want to gas that Devin Booker base. The card is 6'4". Look, I wish I could go higher, but if Jerry Sloan is at B tier, I'm sorry, David Thompson. You're at C tier because I like Jerry Sloan more, especially defensively. Kelly Tripucka, I owe you an apology. You are good on this game. Better than Kyle Korver. I'm going to throw you at A tier. Do I think that's slightly gassing him? Maybe. He's not Dr. J level, but, you know, he is really solid on the floor. I am going to go A tier. Next up, we do see Pink Diamond Kevin Durant. I think for KD, it's an interesting one. I don't really like the card at all. I'm throwing him at C tier. And I know people are going to be like, what? You like Gerald Wallace over Kevin Durant? Yes. And honestly, this is me. I don't even think it's particularly close. Monta Ellis up next. Not good. And I don't like, Monta Ellis hasn't seen a good card in the last couple of years. Latrell Sprewell defensively isn't bad. I think he does enough to be at B tier. The thing with him, though, is he's just undersized. And is he as good as Jerry Sloan? I don't think so. Like, I don't mind Spree. He's just not as good as Jerry Sloan. Side by side, he's not. You know, I got the card comparison up. I think Latrell Sprewell, and I don't hate the card. C tier is fine for Pink Diamonds at this stage. Let's go Paul George S tier. Nobody will ever talk me out of Paul George being good on this game. I mean, I am such a big Paul George fan. Nobody could ever make me hate you. Hakeem Olajuwon up next. A tier, I guess, but he's on the verge of being S tier because, I mean, he is that good. I do think at the power forward position, he's even better than a guy like Bob McAdoo, so I really do like the card. Ron Artest up next. It's a tough one, but I think A tier is the right spot. And the reason I say that is because I think Dr. J gives you more. I think Paul George gives you more. And so I like Ron Artest. I'm running Ron Artest currently, but I do think A tier is probably the right ultimate spot for the card. And again, I like him, but that's just where I'm at with Mr. Ron Artest. George McGinnis is not great whatsoever. I'm going to throw him at C tier. I don't think he's totally worthless, but I just do not see what a lot of people see in George McGinnis. Rudy G up next. Same tier as Terry D. I mean, you can like Terry more than Rudy, but I'm telling you, the cards are nearly identical. They're going to give you nearly the same thing on the floor. LeBron James, I'm going to put it really simple for you guys. If you do not have LeBron James at S tier, I'm going to just say this simply, you don't know ball. LeBron James is, in my opinion, the best small forward on the game. I mean, I don't know who else needs to hear it, but that's my opinion on it. And again, if you don't think he is, I don't know if I can help you. Like LeBron James, when I say best small forward, Pink Diamond small forward on the game. The Galaxy Up was the best small forward in the game, but at every tier, he's the best. Drew Holiday up next. I like Drew more than Jamal Murray, Reggie Theus, LaMelo Ball. I think Drew's at least A tier. I'm not going to throw him S tier quite yet, but Drew has that type of potential. Chris Middleton, the Bucks did him so wrong. On this game, though, he's just not great. C tier for Cash Money, Chris Middleton. Cat, and I don't even like doing this because I wish I could hype up Cat a little more, but he's just simply not great on this game. He's just simply not. I'm going to go C tier, but Cat is simply not great on this game. Stephon Marbury, C tier probably. I just don't see what everybody else sees. I guess nobody likes the card. Daryl Dawkins, I don't think is great either. I guess C tier. I'm going to go D tier with Daryl Dawkins. With his 3-ball, it's tough. Allen Houston up next. I don't know, man. I'm going to go C tier. Again, another card I just don't see it with. John Starks is good on this game. Is he good enough to go at A tier? I think it's close. I think it's close for John Starks. Is he as good as Drew? I think it's close. Now here, let me tell you why I don't mind John Starks on this game. I just want to talk about why for a little bit. 93 ball, 92 speed, really solid defensively, and he's got a good release. Now, why do I not love him? The interior's low. It's just, it's tough. He's between A and B. I'm going to put him at B just because I don't think he's the Drew Holiday level. Walt Frazier plays a lot of defense. Offensively, leaves a lot to be desired. C tier. Counting down SJ. I'm going to go A tier. People gas him and people want to put him in S tier. I don't see that. I don't see S tier for him. He's solid at that A tier. Jameer Nelson stinks. I'm going to go F tier. Joel Embiid up next. Embiid is a stud on this game. A tier though. I'm not throwing him at S tier. I'm just not. He is A tier though. Billy Cunningham, C tier. He's just not great at this stage. He's fine. He's just he's not great. He's not perfect. Devin Booker, he's literally training wheels. I still got to go A tier. Honestly, I'm going S tier. Cuz he's literally training wheels, dude. Like, you don't have to be good at this game to green with Devin Booker. And that's the one thing that I can't get past is it's like, he is the easiest card to use on this game. I've used a lot of cards, and I'm telling you, with that release, he's got to be up there with the easiest. Connie Hawkins up next. I love Connie Hawkins enough to put him at A tier. I don't use Connie Hawkins. I never have because he is massively overpriced, but the card is A tier. He's extremely good. Wesley Matthews. He's fine, but he's not as good as Jerry Sloan. I'm going to throw him at C tier. Greg Oden, a really solid big man on this game. A tier, really no questions asked. Him and Joel Embiid, very, very, very similar cards. Next up, Kevin Martin, D tier, yikes. Peja Stojakovic, C tier. I've said in my past videos, I do prefer Peja over KD, and do I stand by that? Yes. But Peja's not perfect. I do think he is deserving of that C tier. I like Gerald Wallace over him. Victor Wembanyama, S tier, no questions asked. The best pink diamond on this game. Sean Elliott up next. Sean Elliott's an interesting one because, he plays defense. He can knock down shots. I just feel like offensively he's limited. My question for Sean Elliott would be, how do you compare to Gerald Wallace, right? And I think Gerald Wallace just plays more defense. Like, if you look at Sean Elliott's defensive stats, they're just pretty pretty mediocre. I'm throwing him at C tier. Larry Keenan, I want to go A tier. I really like this card. And when I say that, no, I mean it. He plays a ton of defense. Offensively, he gives you a lot. Now, I feel like he's not that gassed because when those finesse cards first got leaked, Keenan wasn't even featured. Like, he wasn't even featured in the day before the leak. Like, it was sad. Card is extremely good. Rashard Lewis, C tier. He's just not ideal, not great. Next up, we do see Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp's a beast on this game. And I don't know if I want to put him at B tier or A tier. I'm going to put him at A tier. Look, I think Sean Kemp is really solid on this game. Now, people don't want to hype him up. I don't know why. Like, I really like Sean Kemp. I like what the card gives you as far as, overall power forwards. If you've got Sean Kemp, he's a card you can absolutely use. I've got him on the no money spent. And he just holds it down for me. Now, is he S tier? No. But I think he's just as good as a lot of these guys at A tier, so that's where I'm putting him. Dennis Johnson up next. I don't hate Dennis Johnson. The thing I hate is Tuesday drops, but Dennis Johnson's fine. I think B tier is where he belongs. John Stockton, F tier. The card stinks. Daryl Griffith, not good whatsoever. D tier. Larry Hughes, he's fine at the point guard position. B tier, I think, is where I want to go with Larry. He's objectively okay, though. Rip Hamilton. I don't know, man. I don't even like him as much as Jerry Sloan. I'm going to throw him at C tier. And again, C tier is not a bad tier. It's not, but it's not quite B tier. Steve Smith, C tier. He's fine. You can use him. Have fun with him, but C tier is where he belongs. Yao Ming, Pink Diamond Yao is not good. I'm throwing him at C tier. The card's just not good. It's just, people want to gas Yao because he's 7'6". I get it, but the card's got to be better. Brad Miller, I think is C tier at this stage. I don't mind Brad Miller. I liked him for his time, but I just, at this stage, it's tough to be super high on him. Paul Millsap, I don't hate Paul Millsap. Is he as good as Gerald Wallace? Probably not. At this stage, he's probably not as good as him. And yes, it's hard for me to rank somebody at B tier unless they're really good. And so that's something you're going to notice with this tier list is unless somebody is really good, they're going to be C tier or below. Adam Morrison, just got him on the No Money Spent Squad series today. And I'm going A tier with him. I feel like his release is so easy to green. I feel like offensively, Adam Morrison gives you a ton. And so I'm putting him at A tier. Maybe it's my no money spent bias getting in the way, and that could be true, but that's fine. If I've used cards and I like them, I'm going to throw him at A tier. Sean Kemp's on the no money spent. Adam Morrison, Ron Artest is on the no money spent. And guess what? I hype him up. So maybe they just need to be on my no money spent squad series. This SGA, he was behind a big time paywall. I get it, but he is S tier. Objectively, that SGA is elite. Pink Diamond Cade, he's S tier too. I mean, I know I've got a lot of S tier point guards, but it's the way it's got to be with all these elite point guards. I don't have really a choice. D White, Derek White up next. He's a beast. I love Derek White enough, honestly. I want to throw him at A tier. I'm going to. I think he's just as good as Drew. I think Derek White, because his release is so quick, is one of the most underrated cards in this game. I know he's undersized, but that release helps him out a ton. Clint Capella stinks, F tier. Dominique Wilkins, not great. C tier, I think, is a fair tier for Dominique Wilkins. Franz Wagner is elite. The thing about Franz Wagner is he's 6'10". And so it's tough to not hype up a guy that's 6'10" that, you know, can knock down shots. I'm going A tier with Franz Wagner. I don't think he's as good as Paul George, Dr. J, but I do think he is in that next tier of good. Jared Sullinger up next. It's tough because I think Sullinger is decent on this game. It's just with that perimeter defense that holds him back a little bit. I am going to throw him at that A tier though, because I think with his release, with his player build, he does enough to be at that A tier for sure. I just don't think, you know, I don't think he belongs at that B tier, which I was contemplating, but I just think he deserves to be higher than that. Michael Beasley, S tier, the best offensive card on this tier list. He is. Him or Wemby is up there at S tier. Last but certainly not least, Bol Bol. We saved the most intriguing card for last. Where do I rank Bol Bol? Because he's a 7'3" power forward that does a lot on the court, but his release holds him way back. Is Bol Bol S tier? Is he A tier? Is he B tier? And it's really tough because that release stinks. I think A tier is where I'm going to go with Bol Bol because defensively, he still gives you a lot. I just want you guys to know Bol Bol is not perfect though. And if you have him higher at A tier, I just don't think you're right. I just don't. I think because offensively, he is so limited on what the card can give you. I think A tier is ultimately the right spot for Bol Bol on this list. That's going to wrap it up for my video today. Let me know your thoughts on my pink diamond tier list down below in the comments. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.